Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week we're back on the guitar, hopefully getting the last bit of woodworking done. See you in a minute. So we've got the main bodywork pretty much all done and carved to shape. We've got the neck carved and pretty much there. Last thing I've got to do really now is just put some cavities in for the pickups and things like that. So let's get it up on the bench and see what we can do with that. So the next job on the guitar is to get the body cavities routed out. Just making a template out of some MDF, transferring all the measurements I've got from the various plans to get the shape. I think that part is down at about, I think that's about 20 something mil, 20 mil deep, and I think this part down here has got to be 39, which is quite deep given that the body's only 40 something, so I've got to watch that one. Maybe I'll come up a little bit, I'll check out how deep the pots are and probably just come up a bit because my body is very slightly less than the 50 mil that the Stratocaster was. So that's that. I'm just going to drill these holes out now with Forstner bits and then cut the rest out probably with the jigsaw, file it up, smooth it up and cut myself a piece out so that we've got the template that we can work from with the router. Then I'll just hog out the main, once it's traced out on the body, hog out the main part with the router bit, with the Forstner bits again, and then just come back in with a router and tidy it all up afterwards. And one of the disadvantages of doing lots of jobs in lots of different places is that you end up leaving your tools somewhere where you aren't at the time, and I've left all my tools including the jigsaw down at Menin Sheds, so I'm going to have to improvise a bit. I've had a look round, I can't find a fret saw, or I can't find a coping saw. I could find a fret saw but I've got no fret saw blades, so I'm going to just try and do it with the little mini Japanese flush saw and then file it back to exact shape. It's not ideal, but as long as the finished routing shape is right, we'll be okay. You can always file to that line as we stay on the safe side of it. So the aim is with the Forstner bit to get the main amount of the wood hogged out so that the router doesn't have to work so hard. It can be done with a router in a lot of small passes to take the whole lot out, but it's a lot easier to take the bulk out and then just trim up the edges. And once again, using the old super glue and masking tape trip just to get the template fitted to the body. It's a lot easier to clean up afterwards than masking tape, than double-sided tape, and it saves drilling holes and screwing through to the body at all, and it does seem to be pretty stable once it's in the right place. I'm using the little Ryobi handheld router. I'm tending to sort of work about 50-50 between that and the little Katsu nowadays. That's much more convenient in that you can just pick it up and it runs, you don't have to plug it in, there's no cables in the way, and it is quieter, but I still find the up and down measurement on it a little bit clunky, but it's a reasonable job. And you can see when I'm taking this template off just how well that super glue and masking tape does stick. It really does stick it down well, but it is very easy just to pull it off afterwards, get the tape off and clean it up. It doesn't cause any, it doesn't leave any residue or anything like that. Right, that's finished the cavity routing. There's two cock-ups, neither of which are a major problem, but they are annoying when you do something stupid and you know you've done something stupid. I caught the router on the top edge there. It doesn't matter because it's underneath pick guard, but even so it was just carelessness, and it's something to keep an eye on when you're playing with hand routers with spinny things in them. Switch them off before you stop and take the thing out. That is annoying, but not a major problem. Slightly more annoying, because I didn't check it beforehand, I checked most other things, is that when I put the pick guard on in the right place, I've cut it too big down this end, and it means that that screw can't fit into anything. There's nothing for it underneath. And again, it's not the end of the world, it's easily recoverable. I'll just make a piece that's that size, slip it into there and just glue it in. It'll be hidden. Just again annoying that one of the things that I'm learning with this is that if you don't know what you're doing, it's much more difficult to know when you're doing something wrong. But we can, as I say, recover both of them without any ill effects on the visual thing of the guitar, but something to be aware of next time, if there is a next time. The whole area around there is a bit tight. I'm really close to the edge, but I think once we get the pick guard on we'll be fine. So I've just cut and shaped a little piece of wood to go in there. That will just be glued in there and trimmed off flush, and hopefully will allow me to get the pick guard screw comfortably in position. That'll be great. Good. So having got the cavities sorted, then on to the last big job really in terms of fixing stuff together, and that's getting the neck holes in the right place to be able to screw it down. I did debate putting threaded inserts into the neck and putting bolts through, which seems to me a far better mechanical way of getting the neck on and off. But having tried it out on a couple of bits of wood, it does give a reasonably good fixing. So I'm working with screws. It's worked well enough for Fender for the last 70 years or so, so should be okay for me. And as long as you pilot drill into the neck timber, it seems to go in without any too much strain, but it gives you a very good fixing. I'm resisting the temptation to use the drill with a screwdriver in it, because I think something like that you can just use your hand pressure and get a feel for how the screw's going in far better, rather than doing something stupid with a power tool. Right, so having joined fretboard to neck, we've now joined neck to body. That's good. We're getting there slowly but surely. Just check that the centre line is working roughly right. A little bit of wriggle room in there, I think. At the moment, yep, that's pretty much spot on the centre line, so that's working okay. So yet another minor milestone arrived today. Right, so that's it as far as the body's concerned, and as far as the neck's concerned, hopefully all the woodwork is now done. There'll be a little bit of fettling obviously, but hopefully now we can start and put some frets in it and get some of the fittings on. I'll probably have a look at the hardware next and see what I've got and how that's going to work, and then we can put it all together before we do the finishing, so that we don't get any nasty surprises once it's been finished. So hopefully it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be doing something different, and I'll hopefully see you then. Bye!